As one who splashes around in the oceans of the world as often as possible for a number of years, I have witnessed changes in the natural systems, greatly changed over the period of time since I was a child. And projecting forward, if the pace of change continues, our children are not going to have much in the way of stable ecosystems in their future. Degraded systems are more vulnerable to climate change or any other factors, storms or diseases. And what we have caused in the last half century through our actions, what we put into the sea, what we take out of the ocean, is causing profound changes in the nature of the ocean itself. What are some of the initiatives we can take to conserve the oceans and work toward their long-term health? Well, look at what we're doing, what we put into the ocean, what we're taking out of the sea, both in excess and both causing the destabilization of these natural systems that, if you really pull back and think about it, this is our life support system. The ocean governs climate and weather, churns out most of the oxygen in the atmosphere, governs the chemistry of the planet. It's the great thermoregulator for the Earth. I gave a talk recently at the World Bank, and I chose as my opening image to make my points an image that all of us have now taken for granted owing to the observations of astronauts, that is Earth from space, the blue Earth. And I said, there it is, the World Bank. That's it. Those are the assets. That is the source of all that we hold near and dear, our economy, our health, our security, actually the substance of life itself. As to what we might be able to do about the situation, first, I think the greatest concern about climate change is that many people aren't taking it seriously, and many others aren't taking it seriously enough. To deal with the problem, you first have to recognize that you've got one. And generally speaking, people are not acting or reacting as if we've got a serious problem. Well, we do. Most worrisome, perhaps, is the accelerated warming trend caused by greenhouse gases, and you, Representative Markey, have articulated most of what I would have otherwise said, and done it very well, putting on the ballot sheet the issues that we now face, including the acidification of the ocean and the warming, the consequences of this warming trend with sea level rise. But what can we do about it as a nation? Well, one thing we can do is certainly to support policies to swiftly and sharply increase protection for natural systems on the land and in the sea. They are important for stabilizing the destructive trends that we are seeing. And of course, we should also start at the source of those destructive trends and modify our behavior. Certainly the upstream issues are important. Protecting forests benefits watersheds and rivers that inexorably flow into the sea. Healthier landscapes yield healthier seascapes. The United States can help by acknowledging the importance of methane in global warming and recognize the need to view climate change with an enhanced sense of urgency. In a little submarine, I've been out off the coast of Mississippi, 100 miles, down 1,800 feet beneath the surface, and seen methane bubbles burgling up out of the sea floor. And I've wondered what would happen with even a modest increase in temperature, which would enhance the release of methane, which would increase the rate of global warming with a great and classic feedback mechanism. Sadly, while the ocean provides the foundation for all of the planet's systems that I've already articulated, driving climate and weather and taking up and holding carbon dioxide from the atmosphere, shaping global chemistry, and providing home for most of life on Earth, the ocean nonetheless is being ignored by most of those who've been working on climate change issues of all things. It's baffling to me that with all the attention being given to climate change, that you have to look pretty hard to find attention being given to what's happening to the ocean. And another good reason for having this hearing. One of the most important and positive things that this country can do to prepare for the consequences of climate change is to recognize the role of the ocean and take all possible measures to protect that vast but vulnerable system that governs the way the world works. The blue heart of the planet, the ocean, presently, is choked with plastic and other debris. Even more troubling is that other big problem with carbon dioxide, the acidification issue that you'll soon hear more about. Yet, there are many reasons for the United States to be optimistic, to consider the powerful influence that this country can have on the rest of the world by setting the right example, as well as providing help in blunting the sharp edge of climate change impact. Many people who do know what's going on feel helpless and therefore hopeless. There is time, but no time to waste. The next 10 years may be the most important in the next 10,000 years because of what we do or what we fail to do concerning climate change. It's never again, perhaps, we will have a chance. And those of you who represent this country have a unique opportunity to promote actions that will protect all that we hold near and dear, and that again are wealth, our health, our security, and not only our lives, but all the lives to follow.